Well, what a clever idea. And leave it to Jan and Opal. I certainly don't want to leave anyone out, but I believe these are the ringleaders of whatever original is going on. And so thank you, Jan, for your work. And Opal is, my goodness, what a breath of fresh air. What did we do before Opal?
Amen.
Well, you all are hardy souls. I saw so many of you early this morning, and I know you've had a great day. Of course, it heats up around Memorial Day, just in time for this. But be glad you're in shorts and tennis shoes rather than all this. I'm glad you're interested in the history of Iuka. Our town is so rich in history, isn't it? And I think sometimes when we live here, we don't appreciate the charm, the uniqueness of our little town. In 1972, I was living in El Paso, Texas, and my husband Neal came in and he said, "How would you like to move to Iuka, Mississippi?" And I said, "That sounds great. Where is that?" We are natives of Benton County, and I called my mother immediately and I said, "We are coming home. We're moving to Iuka. I don't know where that is, however." And she said in her soft little voice, she said, "Oh, you remember that charming town we go through on the way to Huntsville?" And she said, we stopped at their beautiful park." So isn't that ironic that I end up by the park? In fact, our children were 4 when we moved here, and they referred, it was never, "May we go to the park, may we go to the beautiful park." So the park has been a part of our lives for a long time. So there it was, 1972. There were 2 houses for sale in Iuka. We bought one of them. Where's Betty Young? Yours was for sale too. We really should have bought yours. Yeah, and I don't know why we didn't, but anyway, yours was for sale and the one we bought. Anyway, I digress. That's recent history. I want to tell you a little bit about this house. I do feel that it's a privilege to live in a little piece of history. Yes, our names are on the deed, but a historical house belongs to everyone. Many of you have more memories about this house and Miss Celia, the former owner, than I do even, and I love hearing those stories. So to fast forward just a little bit, the year was 1980, and W.S. Brown, you will know that name because of the store that was downtown, called and said this house was for sale. Miss Celia had just died. Her nephew came, was absolutely stripping the house of all the antiques, of all the precious papers, and he told the gentleman who was from Texas, "I know some people who would like to have this house. They love antiques. They will not turn this place into a service station." And so because of W.S. Brown, we were able to buy this house. It was, as I said, 1980. Our children were 12. They were in the 7th grade. And we came over to show them the house. They were not impressed. In fact, I heard one of them say to the other, "I wonder what happened to our money." The floors were unlevel. Um, Miss Celia had lived in just a few rooms because obviously the house was expensive and hard to heat. So anyway, we were able to salvage the house and prep it up a little bit so the girls were a little bit prouder of it. When we bought the house, it had been called Rose Cottage, and there were a few struggling rose bushes in the northwest corner, but honestly, we thought these magnificent trees were the best part of the property. And our girls are twins. Therefore, we thought the name Twin Magnolias would fit. And I hope we made the right decision. And these trees are such a treasure. Um, they took a tremendous hit in the ice storm of '94, but they've been troopers and they are coming back. The house is on the historical register, and I hope you've noted the sign out front. I'm so proud of that sign. We are not on the historical register for the architecture of the house. It is for the history. And to tell you just a little bit about the history, this house started its life at Eastport. And you folks who've been here a long time know that Eastport was a thriving municipality prior to the advent of the railroad. Right before the Civil War, we think around 1857, the house was moved from Eastport to this site. That's probably when the trees were planted. The house at that time was just a little shotgun. Here, this bedroom, and there's a nice foyer in the middle and another room there. That's probably all the house consisted of at that time. But anyway, here it was in place for the Battle of Iuka, and it became the headquarters for General Henry Little. You have heard that name, and those who have fought the Battle of Iuka last year and the year before know how prominent he was. Unfortunately, he was conferring with General Price right before the battle and took a minie ball to the head and died outright. His body was brought back here, and it was, of course, they did not want the Yankees to know that he had been killed. He was so important. So, not offending any Yankees, am I? Any Yankees out here? Anyway, they buried his body at nightfall, so the enemy would not know that he had died. And General Price grieved. He said, "Oh, I've lost my little. I've lost my little." He was only 42 years old and had a wonderful career ahead of him. After the war, his wife came here, exhumed his body, and he now rests in Baltimore, Maryland. So the house did have a major part in the Battle of Iuka, but also it was the home of an outstanding Iuka citizen. Colonel John M. Stone had served in local offices, but he was commander of Company K, and Company K was made up of Iuka recruits. And so the first nursing association met right here, and they made bandages and kits and anything the soldiers might need in battle. That sounds like Gone with the Wind, doesn't it? But I can just imagine the women making those bandages here. So John M. Stone became the longest serving governor of Mississippi, and he was the second president of a certain university in Starkville. State fans? Well, when we were getting the sign, I thought the sign would say, and Governor Stone was the second president of Mississippi State University, but they wouldn't have that. The historical group said it has to state Mississippi A&M. So I hope people appreciate Colonel John M. Stone and his service to Iuka and to Mississippi. That's kind of the history of the house. There have been times when the house has been open, and one year we had my brother portraying General Little as the dead general, and he was laid out in this room, and people came through the foyer and looked at him, and unfortunately or fortunately, Frank went to sleep and started snoring, and someone said, "He's not dead, he's snoring." Anyway, we've had a lot of fun sharing the house, and I welcome y'all to come back and come through the house. Someone who was here, I guess back during our battle parties, Eddie said, "Well, the house does not look the way I expected." And I said, "Well, I hope you're not disappointed." He said, "No, it's just so lived in." Of course, with 2 children and now grandchildren, it gets very, very lived in. So that's my little history. Do you have any questions?
Is there any kind of documentation or evidence of where this little burial place might have been on the property, or was there roads?
We simply are not sure. Ben Kitchens, who really knows a great deal, assumes that it was in the back in the garden. I read something else that said the northwest corner. So when we did the reenactment of the burial,